Hey, you crazy cats! 42's live streams and videos are simply not available on vinyl. You will have to go to the YouTubes for that. So if you want content about British traditions and culture, cutting-edge social commentary from an unapologetically patriotic perspective, along with a side order of madness you simply will not find anywhere else, then this is the place for you. And to all those early adapters in the chat, don't forget to hit the notification bell. That's how you get the good stuff, and make sure you never miss a tasty treat. So with that being said and done, squeeze yourself in. Let's get into it. You know you want to. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Please delete as applicable because the internet is worldwide. Time zones are still a thing, and god damn it, I think I've cracked it how to get from the intro to me on the screen. Although StreamYard has indeed changed its setup yet again, but we will adapt and overcome. Now, can I get a wee audio check in the chat, please? And I'll say a couple of hellos. Who have we got in here? The Budgie Burger is in. The Budgie Burger's in. Welcome aboard, chum. Captain Pack is in. Oh, and with something topical. We had 100+ apple tree. The ex used to make apple wine from it. 40%, 28 bottles one year. Us and the couple next door would sometimes blaze that tree until the sun come up. Sounds lovely. Perfect. Captain Packham. Anglo Saxon. Evening, brother. Welcome aboard. The Special K on the acid. The Spanish chicken. Don Browning is in from down under. Scottish kippers. I will say that I would say I'm not fond of a kipper, but the truth of the matter is, I've looked at kippers and man, I don't like them before I've actually tasted them. I'm very limited in my palate that way. Super Dave's in. Welcome aboard, sir. Thanks for coming along. And with that, I will do a couple of shout outs. I believe Rags is taking a break from streaming at the moment. I believe that he's got some sort of health issues, and I wish him all the best and a speedy recovery with that. To be honest with you, I'm not sure what it is, but that you can let me know in the chat if you know more than me. But that's how I believe the situation is. Yeah. The look of them's enough to put me off. It just herons or mackerel or anything like that fish is just quite too fishy for me. The fish that I like can be limited to cod and tuna. That's me. Now, other shows for a shout out. Courage is Secure, Australian girl called Robin, who was in the Waffle House for the duck race on Friday and was actually in the Dangerfield stream chat this afternoon. I'm going to talk a little bit about that before I start as well. But you'll find Robin, Courage is Secure, talks about what's going on with the government tyranny and the madness that goes on in society today from Australia. And the other show that does a similar type of thing, only from America, would be RPW Media. Rich, brother of Jimmy from Philly. Really good coverage. I'll keep you up to date with everything that's going on. And also he has a website that you can find the link to with all the news articles and stories. It's quite an in-depth operation he's got running there. So there's that. And the other thing, I'm going to give a shout out to the one, the only, the Dave Waffle House. Dave Waffle House, home of the world famous best duck race on the internet that runs every Friday night. I don't know if. Sorry, I'm. Has him from Scotland. Right, okay. Yeah. Oh shit. Rags person, he's in hospital for 8 to 10 weeks. Shit, that does not sound good. That really does not sound good. I hope that the doctors can get a grip of whatever it is and get him recovered. I hope he recovers as quickly and as well as he can. Yeah, that does not sound good. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I think everybody should put an hour in the chat there. We'll send some good thoughts, Regs, as well. I will indeed have a word with man and scare about tonight. Right. Where was I? Yep. The right. Yes, the Dave Waffle House on a much brighter note. Home of the best duck race on the internet. Basically, it's a pub. You can drop in there any night from the show starts at 8:30, but he has an intro for half an hour before it where you can join in the chat early if you wish. And with the Monday Club's records for half an hour in the intro. It's actually quite good, and then he does a long outro as well. It's if I could explain that show and the chat and the community there is there, it wouldn't be as good of a show and a chat and a community. Because what goes on over there is quite unexplainable, but it's a really lovely, friendly place and it's a good place to be able to drop into. So get yourself over there, become part of something, give it a whirl. And oh yes, something else I want to say on the subject of the duck race. My brother, Anglo Saxon, has indeed bought me quite a lot of ducks, like fucking lots. I've got full ducks in that duck race for weeks to come. Now I'm going to get ahead of this. I know it's all a ploy to get me to win the liquid ass. And I'm going to say this now. I have worked with chemicals for 30 odd years. I have issues with putting on deodorant. I need to turn my head well away from the spray can. So I will, under no circumstances, be producing a video of me sniffing liquid ass. However, I will, and you can hold me to this, I will make if I win the liquid ass, I will accept it and I will join in and I will make a video featuring the liquid ass. I know what I'm going to do with it, but it will remain unopened. So there you go. Just to let you know, whenever if I do eventually do win it, I'm not checking out of sniffing it. It's just I can't for medical and psychological reasons. I think Willie, who huffs it, either has got it swapped out for fucking the whole can's used and there's nothing actually coming out or something like that, where he's got it transferred to something that smells just not as bad. But there you go. Right, I'm gibbering. But anyway, and also Anglo, thank you so much for all those ducks. That's very, very kind of you, and thank you. Yes, the other thing I did want to say about was, Brad James, evening mucker. What about you, Sean? Welcome aboard. I want to say a little bit before start about the Dangerfield stream tonight and about the state of mental health or mental health care and mental health diagnoses in the United Kingdom and indeed across the world. Because I have previous with our mental health service. As you know, I lived in a abusive relationship for 25 years, broken record, turning off 40, I get it. But I also had a workplace incident from which I developed post-traumatic stress disorder and did 18 years on Prozac and diazepam that I was just given on prescription repeat. No need to come back and have a look at it. And I also did have several bouts of cognitive behavioral therapy, and I had other counselling as well and other therapies from the National Health Service. And what I will tell you is that the only thing that they were not willing for me to talk about was my living circumstances and conditions. And indeed, not only did they miss the fact that I was explaining that I was living in an abusive relationship, and that's why I might be just a little bit fucking unhappy. But they refused to even allow me to speak about that because they found it uncomfortable. And I will tell you that any therapy that willfully ignores part of the cause is not a therapy. It's a fucking con job. The mental health profession is not what you would expect, and there's not a lot of there's no science to it whatsoever. Are there psychological conditions and whatnot? Yes, they are, but it's not a disease, and the cause of them and the cure of them are very different from what the mental health professionals will tell you. So I wanted to pick that in. So there you go. There's that. And with that, I'm going to begin with I was going to begin with our first subject, a whistling or whistling, or I don't even know how you pronounce that. It's an old Anglo Saxon tradition, and it all seems very much fun. But before we do that, I am going to have a musical interlude, and let me have a quick think about what I'm going to have. Let's see, let's get some YouTube up. Sea shanties. We're going to have a sea shanty. Let me see. Yeah, we'll do On My Way. Why not? We will keep it. We will keep it with familiar one. Right, here we go. Presenter invite, share screen. This has all got more complicated than it was or needs to be. And yeah, fuck me. They're putting all sorts of stuff in. Yep. Yeah, I know Google Chrome is accessing my.
"'Tis a damn tough life, full of toil and strife, we whaler men undergo. And we don't give a damn when the day is done how hard the winds did blow. 'Cause we're homeward bound from the Arctic around with a good ship taut and free. And we don't give a damn when we drink our rum with the girls of old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys, rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic around, rolling down to old Maui. Once more we sail with a northerly gale towards our island home. Our mainmast sprung, our whaling done, and we ain't got far to roam. 6 hellish months we passed away on the cold Kamchatka Sea. But now we're bound from the Arctic around, rolling down to old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys, rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic around, rolling down to old Maui. Once more we sail with a northerly gale to the ice and wind and rain. Them coconut fronts, them tropical lands we soon shall see again. Our Stunsel's bones is carried away, what care we for that sound? A living gale is after us, thank God we're homeward bound. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys, rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic around, rolling down to old Maui. How soft the breeze through the island trees, now the ice is far astern. Them native maids, them tropical glades is awaiting our return. Even now their big brown eyes look out, hoping some fine day to see our baggy sails running for the gales, rolling down to old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys, rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic around, rolling down to old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys, rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic around, rolling down to old Maui.
There we go. That was Rolling Down to Old Maui. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to begin talking about Wassailing, which is not wrestling, it's Wassailing, and it's not Vaseline either. There you go. Now, I'll just scroll this down a little. Oh, I can't get rid of that. I can get rid of that. And I want to see what this looks like on the screen, and I am going to zoom that in just a little. Zoom in. What do I like? Yep. Sorry. Yeah, there is a bit of there's a bit of the Green Man about it. What you'll notice about British traditions is they borrow quite heavily from one another. There is a commonality to all of the British traditional events. So you'll get the Green Man that'll pop up here. Will also pop up in May as well. The wassailing, or blessing of the fruit trees, involves drinking and singing to the health of the trees in the hope that they will provide a bountiful harvest in the autumn. This ancient custom is still practiced across the country today. So here we go. Let's see where it started. Anglo Saxon tradition dictated that at the beginning of each year, the lord of the manor would greet the assembled multitude with the toast Wassailing, meaning be well or be in good health, to which his followers would reply, drink heal or drink well. And so the New Year celebrations would start with a glass or two, or perhaps even a drop more. It is likely that such celebrations were being enjoyed many years before Christianity began to spread through Britain from around 600 onwards. And yes, it is more probable than not that all of our traditions do begin before Christianity. And while people will say that Christians usurped or took over all of the pagan festivals, that's not entirely true. There's a lot of nuance to that, but there you go. Depending on the area of the country where you lived, the wassail drink itself would generally consist of warmed ale, wine, or cider, blended with spices, honey, and perhaps an egg or two, all served in one huge bowl and passed from one person to the next with the traditional wassail greeting. The wassailing celebrations generally take place on the 12th night, the 5th of January. However, the more traditional still insist on celebrating it on Old Twelvey or the 17th of January. The correct date, that is before the introduction of the Gregorian calendar, messed things up in 1752. So you've got a load of people that have went, yes, you might have changed every day of the year for us, but we're still going to put our traditional event on its proper traditional day. And that's where we're at with that. Quite similar. Whereas in Ulster, we went a slightly different route because we originally paraded on the 12th of July for the Battle of Aughrim, which was the decisive battle in the Williamite Wars. But whenever the calendar changed, the date became wrong, and however, we had a battle that happened on that day, which would have been the 1st of July, which was the Battle of the Boyne, which happened the year previously. And since that date now fell on the date where we traditionally marched, we kept the parade at the same day, and we just changed which battle it was we actually remembered on that day. So these people have went the other direction and went, no, we're just going to stick with the day that it was. Now, there are two distinct variations of wassailing. One involves groups of merrymakers going from one house to another, wassail bowl in hand, singing traditional songs, and generally spreading fun and good wishes. The other form of wassailing is generally practiced in the countryside, particularly in fruit-growing regions where it is the trees that are blessed. And here we have a picture of the house-to-house wassailing, and it looks quite Halloweeny, actually, in that. But I want to go and check the comments. Sorry, I'm just checking through the chat. So West Country lad there. Amanda's dad used to go house to house. Very good. It's similar to it's a similar tradition to the first fruiting that we do here. And like I said, there is a lot of crossover in all of these traditions. The practice of house wassailing continued in England throughout the Middle Ages, adapting as a way by which the feudal lord of the manor could demonstrate charitable seasonal goodwill to those who served him by gifting money and food in exchange for wassailers' blessings and songs. So the people of that lived around the manor would come visit the manor house, bring sing a song or whatnot, and would go away with a gift. Love and joy come to you, and to you, your wassail too, and God bless you and send you a happy new year. So this is a celebration of the new year. The house wassailing tradition has evolved into what we now recognise as caroling, where groups of people go from door to door singing Christmas carols. Some aspects of the original practice, however, can still be detected in the words of the carols. Listen carefully as wassailers' demands begin. Now give us some figgy pudding. And then as those demands turn into threats, we won't go until we've had some. That's the we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year song, which just repeats, and one of the lines is give us some piggy pudding. Which I always found very strange because growing up in Belfast, I had never seen a figgy pudding, heard of one anywhere apart from that song, and thought that it didn't exactly sound very nice. But there you go. 1 second, I need to get some liquid and sniff and cough, sneeze and cough and shit. Right, sorry about that. Now, where was I? The wassailing, or blessing of the fruit trees, involves drinking and singing to the health of the trees in the hope that they will provide a bountiful harvest in the autumn. This ancient custom is still practiced across the country today and is particularly popular in the cider producing areas of England, such as Somerset, Devon, Herefordshire, Kent, and Sussex. The celebrations vary from region to region, but generally involve a wassailing king and queen leading the assembled group of revellers comprising the farmers, farm workers, and general villagers in a noisy procession from one orchard to the next. In each orchard, the wassailers gather round the biggest and best tree, and as a gift to the tree spirits, the queen places a piece of wassail-soaked toast into its branches, accompanied by songs such as apple tree, we all come to Wassailing, bear this year and next year to bloom and blow, hat fools, cap fools, three-cornered sack fools. The wassailers then move on to the next orchard, singing, shouting, and banging pots and pans, and even firing shotguns. I wonder if that still happen. I wonder are any of these people still allowed to have a shotgun. That's that's really interesting. Generally making as much noise as possible in order to both waken the sleeping tree spirits and also to frighten off evil demons that may be lurking in the branches. And also, one of the reasons why they have to be quite noisy doing this is if a man and woman happen to, as part of this, slip off into the darkness that they've met up at this big celebration thing and thought, do you know what, we're going to go and fertilize this soil and add our seeds to it, and they could be somewhere in one of these orchards. It's probably a good idea to let them know that you're coming, and that's why these processions need to be quite noisy so that they've got time to not look like they have been up to any mischief. Just saying. Oh, and here is a picture of the this is the daytime part, and we've got people in costumes, and we've got an advertisement. As mentioned previously, the custom of apple tree wassailing is celebrated across the country on either the new or old 12th night, and other ancient wassailing traditions are also practiced each year in London, where the Bankside mummers and the holy man will bring in the green and Wales Hassel and the people of the River Thames. For more details of these and other summer events, right? Okay, and we have a video. So I'm going to click this video on.
Hold on to your
Get to YouTube. Right, and we're going to see what this is looking like on the screen. No, I think we will. Yep, we're going to swap this over. We'll take this one out. Well, it's a lot more than polite. It solves a lot of problems, particularly whenever you've got somebody from one village that has came over for that night, and they've got a spouse back in a different village, and the person that they're with has got a spouse in the village that they're in, and if they get caught and everybody sees, it will be all very embarrassing, but they make sure that that does not happen. Yeah, no, don't. They stole the guns. See a pattern forming? Yeah, no, there's nothing to see here. Not a thing. Exactly. Right. Now, no, I want to stop that screen. Right. And share screen, and we will get the video up. That's not on the StreamYard. That's so it's not. Yep, here we go.
Because we're diving headfirst into the eccentric world. Hold on to your wassailing bowls, because we're diving headfirst into the eccentric world of wassailing. Back in Anglo Saxon times, the lord of the manor would throw a shindig that's the talk of the town. The air would be filled with the sweet scent of warmed ale, spices, and just a dash of old school charm. The lord of the manor would begin the annual toast, where wassail, meaning be well or be in good health, would be responded to by drink hail or drink well, setting the stage for a year of merrymaking. Depending upon the area of the country where you lived, the wassail drink itself would generally consist of a warmed ale, wine, or cider, blended with spices, honey, and perhaps an egg or two.
Yeah.
All served in one huge bowl and passed from one person to the next, with the traditional wassail greeting.
Oops, whoops. Sorry, people. I normally check the fucking videos before, but because the article was good, I thought that's going to be good. But no, it seems like this is not a good video about wassailing. Just right. I know what I'm going to do. Hold on. I will make this right. I will. Let's see. Give me one momento. Yeah, right, okay. Here's what we're going to do. Yep. I'm going to give you a little bit of the Devil Went Down to Jamaica. And I'm going to get you an actual video on wassailing. Sorry about that, people.
The devil went to Jamaica. He was looking to sell some weed. He was doing fine. They were standing in line. It was excellent weed indeed. When he came across this young man who was likewise peddling pot, and the devil slid down the beach to the kid and said, "Boy, let me tell you what. I guess you kind of figured I'm a reefer head, of course. And after all this time, I guess that I'm a connoisseur of sorts. Now, your stuff smells okay, but this could tranquilize a horse. I'll bet $1 million in cash against your stash, because I think mine's better than yours." The boy said, "My name's Johnny, and you ain't smoked nothing yet. One hit of this grass will kick your ass. You got yourself a bet. Johnny, roll a ball of hash and make sure it's the bomb, because the devil's got the kind of stuff they smoked in Vietnam. You'll get $1 million smackaroos in cash if you can cope, but if you can't, the devil will get your dope." The devil packed a bong with a little Acapulco gold, and resin flew from his fingertips as he fired up his bowl. He filled that chamber all the way, and he took a mighty hit. As they passed it back and forth, it gave them both a coughing fit. Damn. When the bowl was finished, Johnny said, "Hey man, that stuff was great, but fill your lungs with some of this and prepare to vegetate. Cannabis sativa, sweet Mary Jane. The devil's in the backyard frying his brain. Zigzag filled with a diggity dank. Hold on tight, it'll hit you like a tank." The devil nodded off because he knew that he was stoned, and he asked if he could buy an ounce of the stuff that Johnny owned. Johnny said, "Devil, just come on back if you ever want to catch a buzz. I done told you once, you son of a bitch, mine's the best there ever was." And they fired up doobies one by one. Ain't it gonna stop till the bag is done. Green as a bullfrog, sticky as glue. Granny, do you get high? Yes, I do.
There we go. That was a quick little bit of the Muppets to get over the fact that we had got a really, really, really crap Wassailing. And there's RPW Media's in. Anybody that's not already subscribed to him, click that channel, go to it and subscribe. Rich will keep you up to date with everything that's going on politically from an American perspective, and also has got a really deep it's a website with a lot of resources on it. You'll go and get articles about anything there. Now, the actual a wassailing video that actually has some wassailing in it is about to come up. Here we go.
Squid, and it's red faces and back to the drawing board for the experts. But in spite of the gloom, some folks just can't be downhearted. In Norton Fitzwarren near Taunton in Somerset, they're preparing good old mulled punch for wassailing the apple trees. Wassailing is an old West Country custom whose origin is as old as apples themselves. A pagan rite performed to drive evil spirits away from the orchards, with the help of some modern cider drinking and music. Enter the girl who plays an important part in the ritual. This year's wassail queen, gorgeous Julie Hartnell. In the presence of good Somerset citizens, the wassail queen is carried to a selected tree in the orchard. To attract the good spirits in the form of robins to the trees, she dunks a piece of toast in the cider barrel and places it in a fork of the tree. Then mulled cider is poured round the base of the tree to nourish the roots. The evil spirits are dispelled by firing a volley into the branches of the apple tree. With the evil spirits well and truly taken care of for another year, the wassailers get down to some serious wassailing. What better way to round off a bit of wassailing than to let the Morris dancers take over? Nobody knows which is the older, wassailing or Morris dancing. But these pagan rites do remind us that spring is on its way. Unless that too is delayed by an industrial dispute.
So there we go. There's a bit of wassailing with actual wassailing in it. I'll tell you why you're doing it in Yorkshire, because it wasn't just a West Country tradition. It was done pretty much across the country in the same way that May Day was celebrated across the country with maypoles and all of that stuff. And a lot of people, because there's been a demise, a lot of places that still do things think that they were the only place that did it. But the reality is that it was across the country. And yes, a big up to the Morris boys. People, your cultures and traditions are the things that you do. As soon as you stop doing it, they stop being your traditions. And the people who are involved in Morris dancing are currently holding a fucking line, and they could do with a little bit of help and support in whatever form that can be given. There was something else. Let's see. Hold on one moment though. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Was there other stuff in here that I wanted to? I thought I had. Yeah. Search. Sorry, I've lost links. 1 second. Boom, 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 boom. No, I don't. Sorry. My bad. Right. Okay. At this. One second, strawberry. Yeah, no. We are going to go. Right. We're now going to talk about quite a serious subject, and that's probably why I've been delaying it, trying to look for something else. But this actually is quite a difficult subject. We're going to talk about the Kingsmill Massacre, which was an atrocity perpetrated by the Provisional Irish Republican Army. And I will start off with, this research. I'm just going to show you what came up with the StreamYard search for IRA attacks in January. Give you a little bit of a flavour of where we're at with all this madness. So, put this up. So, the term IRA refers to different groups over time: the Provisional Irish Republican Army (PIRA) and the main group during the Troubles, called the ceasefire in 1997. However, distant Republican groups like the Continuity IRA, CIRA, and the New IRA, NIRA. We'll do this properly. The Continuity Irish Republican Army, CIRA, and the New Irish Republican Army, NIRA, have continued to carry out isolated attacks, and you've got the other group that say can't believe it's not the IRA. And all of these people were indeed previously members of the Provisional Irish Republican Army. At the very most, have changed the cap badge. But anyway, let's see. Recent attacks in January 2021. The Continuity Irish Republican Army claimed responsibility for an alleged attack on a police service in Northern Ireland helicopter in South Fermanagh, though the PSNI stated there's no evidence of an attack on the police aircraft. January 2020. The Continuity Irish Republican Army is responsible for a failed plot to plant the bomb in a lorry intended to explode on the day the United Kingdom left the European Union. January 31st, 2020, the device was found and made safe in Lurgan. January 2019, the New Irish Republican Army bombed the courthouse in Londonderry. They were also blamed for hijacking a van and a Royal Mail van around the same time. In January 2017, the New Irish Republican Army attempted to kill a police officer in North Belfast, shooting him multiple times in the arm at a petrol station. Historical attacks. The one we're going to concentrate on today is the Kingsmill Massacre, January the 5th, 1976. Members of the Provisional Irish Republican Army, under the cover name South Armagh Republican Action Force, that'll become important later on, stopped the minibus carrying Protestant workmen, ordered the only Catholic man to leave, and shot the remaining 10 men dead. Well, actually, they didn't. All massacres have a survivor, and in this case, there was one man that survived. You've got the T-bomb bombing on January 17th, 1992. The Provisional Irish Republican Army detonated a roadside bomb that destroyed a van carrying construction workers who had been repairing a British Army base, killing 8 men and injuring 6 others, because considered legitimate targets were anyone that did any work whatsoever for the British state. So these construction workers were murdered apparently as part of a war. Bloody Sunday, while not an air attack, this event where British soldiers shot 13. Bullshit detected. Like, the first shots on Bloody Sunday were fired by Martin McGuinness of Sinn Féin, who was armed with a Tommy gun on that day. And there are, let's say, it's impossible to know what else happened that day because the inquiries have been absolute bullshit. So there you go. And attacks in London in January 1970s and 1990s, the IRA carried out numerous bombings in London and elsewhere in Great Britain, including a series of bombings near Downing Street and a bomb outside Harrods in January 1993. So there's been quite a lot. Exactly. Oh no. The two new groups are still very active, and it would appear that a disagreement between those two groups is why there's been a lot of pipe bombs found recently in West Belfast. They haven't disappeared, but what is decided to go on the news has got very little to do with what's happening and a lot to do with what narrative they want to present. So, where did that go? Right. Anyway, let's begin with a news article by the BBC about the Kingsmill attack, and I will begin to tell you where we're at with this. This is a picture of the minibus. The story of it is these guys worked in a factory, and there was a minibus that took them from their little town to where the factory was because it was a very rural community, and that's how they got from one place to another. The killing of 10 men in County Armagh in 1976 was an overtly sectarian attack mounted by the Provisional Irish Republican Army. An inquest is found. So this is an article about the inquest. 10 Protestant workmen were shot dead when a gang ambushed their minibus near Kingsmill on the 5th of January 1976. The gunmen stopped their van and asked which among them was a Catholic and instructed that man to leave the scene. The rest of the men were shot. It will come up in this later, but the workmen thought that it was a royalist group looking for Catholics, and they said to the Catholic, "Here, we'll protect you." And he went, "We'll protect you. We'll not tell them that you're Catholic. Just you stand where you are." And he went, "No." Said, "I'm a Catholic," and stepped forward. Was told to walk down the road and don't look back. Whether or not he knew this was coming along, and that's why he was willing to identify himself, is very, very, very debatable. The other Catholic who would have been on that minibus called in sick that day, by the way. So he might have knew as well. Their families have called for a public inquiry. We haven't had a full public inquiry. This is a smaller inquiry. It's not a public one. In response, a government spokesman said that the families had their deepest sympathies and hoped that the findings would give them some comfort. No one has ever been held account for the murders. The coroner, Judge Sherrod, said that the inquest found that it was carried out by a unit consisting of at least 12 members of the Provisional Irish Republican Army, pretending to be an army patrol. Throughout the Troubles, Loyalists and Republican paramilitaries carried out tit-for-tat murders, killing people simply based on their religion. That indeed is true. Yeah. I will say that the Irish are a different race, Spanish chicken. Just saying. As far as I'm concerned, the Irish are indeed a different race, a different breed. They're totally different people. And I will begin to explain why. Please tell me it. Why is it? Has this not been? Oh, for fuck's sake! I thought that was. I thought that was actually up on the screen. Spanish. The history of my people will tell you that we never think that we can vote our way out of anything. That's why we've got an army. That's why this is why we have the troubles, because we know we can't vote our way out of this, and we keep ourselves armed and we defend ourselves. That's exactly why the troubles are. Right. Shortly after the attack, the so-called South Armagh Republican Action Force claimed responsibility for it. The coroner said this was a lie. The attack was carried out by the IRA, operating under the authority of the Army Council, which had, in April 1975, given wide authorization to Provisional Irish Republican Army units, he said. He said that while it was obstinately in direct response to attacks... Right, hold on. I'm going to clarify something about this. The reason why the Provisional Irish Republican Army did not claim responsibility was because they were on a fucking ceasefire at the time. They had told everybody, no, we've stopped. We're going to try some political shit, and we're not going to attack anybody for a while. You can all calm down. And well, they did this, and so they obviously couldn't say it was them because they're on ceasefire, so they invented this all unit. He said that while it was obstinately in direct response to attacks on the O'Reilly and O'Dowd families by loyalist terrorists, it was not spontaneous and had been planned well in advance. He said that the IRA had failed to engage with the inquest and that there had been no acknowledgement by the Provisional Irish Republican Army, and for that you can read Sinn Féin, okay, and the utter wrongness of the atrocity, its impact on those bereaved, or the damage caused by its entire community. And I'm going to take this share down just for a second, and I'm going to demonstrate exactly. It's not about religion, chum. There's none of this is about religion, it's about nationality. I'm going to demonstrate just exactly how worried Sinn Féin are about the feelings of people about this, because I'm going to present this. I'm going to share screen. Share screen. I want a window. I want this. Now I get this. This is somebody that this is a Sinn Féin elected politician, member of Parliament, who is standing in a shop on the anniversary of the Kingsmill attack, with no context, no explanation or whatever, but he's got this loaf of bread on his head, and we have this bread in Northern Ireland called Kingsmill. So on the anniversary of this event, I'll get this cunt's name. Yeah, Barry McDuff. These are the images. Sinn Féin member of Parliament Barry McDuff with a loaf of Kingsmill bread on his head are available via the provided links. Yeah. This is how Sinn Féin. This is how Sinn Féin MP for the member of Parliament for the area marked Kingsmill on his Facebook page. So yeah, Spanish chicken. It's not about the gods. It's not about the gods. It's about nationality. They have indeed. They have indeed tried to make people think it's about the religion, but it's not. The fact of the matter is that the reason why we have separate religions is because we were on separate sides. The argument predates Christianity. It predates the Reformation. The Reformation was just a process where everybody formally took sides. What can I tell you? Right. Right. Where were we? Yeah, he said Irish Sinn Féin had failed to engage with the inquest and there had been no acknowledgement or anything. Kingsmill was an overtly sectarian attack by the Provisional Irish Republican Army. It was mounted because the deceased men were Protestants and for no other reason. The IRA has never admitted involvement and was supposed to be on ceasefire at the time. Judge Sard said that there was no evidence that the informers were protected after the Kingsmill massacre. The coroner said because what the Irish Republicans said was, get this, that the British state got the Irish terrorists to murder these Protestants to make them look bad. And the reason why nobody got convicted was because the British state was actually behind it. They want you to believe this. The inquest found that any suggestion that those responsible for Kingsmill were not subject to criminal charges in order to protect an informant was entirely without foundation. He said that there was overwhelming and impossible pressure on police due to terrorist activity in South Armagh at the time, and there was little tangible evidence available to them. It is unevidenced and unhelpful conspiracy theorizing. There was no evidence of anyone being allowed to continue in criminal ventures in order to protect informers, he said. He said that rumours that had arisen about Army officer Robert Norrock, partially due to the fact that one of those who brought the minibus to a stop had an English accent. He said the absence of publicly available and reliable information about Kingsmill and Robert Norrock's whereabouts had fueled rumours. The coroner said that while concerns had been raised by some close relatives at the inquest, he understood that they had been largely allayed. He said Captain Norrock was based in London at the time, fully engaged in duties, and was not in South Armagh at the time. The notion that he would have been able to infiltrate the IRA is the stuff of utter fantasy. The inquest is entirely satisfied that he had no role whatsoever. For those of you who are unaware, 1 second, I cough. Captain Norrock is one of the disappeared. He was a SAS or a British intelligence officer working in Northern Ireland who was abducted by the Provisional Irish Republican Army, murdered and buried somewhere, probably in the Republic of Ireland. And as has happened with quite a few of these people, they seem to have just plumb forgot where the fuck they buried him. And he has not got his body back. AKA Jean McConville and a lot of other people that just disappeared. So there's that. It's not a piss take, mate. the reality of it is, yeah. See if the Irish want to be friends, they can. It's up to them. Stop murdering us. Just that's all. It's a pretty low bar. Stop murdering us. Accept that the British people in Northern Ireland own this land, that we're staying here. Yeah, that's all they need to do. But they can't. Your issue in England is that you've got people there that you don't like. Our issue is that we've got people here we don't like that are trying to say that we don't fucking own this country. We are way further down the line than you. We also have a functioning army of our own that's not the British Army. The Ulster people and the Scottish people have intermixed through history for 7,000 years before Christ. Yeah, so they're actually Ulster Scots. They have their own markers, genetic markers and whatnot, and they have their own kingdom of Theodora. There are people that arrived here and became Ulster folk that descended from quite a while ago. There are some English. It's a bit of a mixture, but the total group would be Ulster Scots, and we did hold all the land right down to the Boyne Valley at one stage. First Battalion Royal Scots. Very nice. Second. Yeah, the term Northern Ireland is very problematic. I will be honest with you. Because of the way everything got chipped up in 1921. Brad's playing a game based on, yeah, the Picts and the Dale Rada. Midlothian boy. Well, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard, chum. Right. I'm going to crack on this. Get this back up on the screen. Right. Share screen. Right, make sure it actually goes up this time. Right, and demanding a public inquiry. Only one man, Alan Black, survived the Kingsmill shooting. He was shot 18 times. Outside court, he said the findings had left us all so dissatisfied. A joint statement from the families of John McConville and Alan Black said that when the inquest started 8 years ago, they were full of hope and many difficult questions that had burdened us. John McConville, I'm going to check that. I think that's a brother of one of the people who were murdered, but I'm not 100% sure. I will check that. Surrounding the incident would be answered. However, the statement he added, as we progress through the inquest, our questions have not been answered, and our concerns have grown because there has been a bit of a whitewash going on here. The family said that they would be demanding a public inquiry from the Secretary of State. A spokesman for the Northern Ireland office said in response, we extend our deepest sympathies to the Kingsmill families. We'll get them some fucking justice. And I believe that the reason why the inquest cannot go further is because the fuckers that did this have got things called letters of comfort, otherwise known as a pardon, that was divvied up to them as part of the peace process while our British soldiers get hounded through court for fucking doing their job. 1 second. Sorry about that. Need to... Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're getting to how this went down very shortly. The coroner's findings confirmed that this was a horrific terrorist atrocity committed by the Professional Irish Republican Army, which had absolutely no justification. We hope the findings delivered today give some comfort to the families affected. Karen Armstrong, whose brother John McConville was one of the... That's who... Yeah. All right, so it was on behalf of him. Yeah. Karen Armstrong, whose brother John McConville was one of the victims, said she was disappointed but not surprised that the Provisional Irish Republican Army would not participate in the inquest. They were not prepared or honourable enough to confront their barbaric actions in the courtroom, she said. This represents a blatant disregard that they have for truth recovery. We hope that this will be noted by Sinn Féin, she said. Well, actually, I think this goes a lot further, because if they were invited to this but refused to engage, I think any other inquiries into any incident in Northern Ireland needs to stop forthwith, because unless we're going to get to the bottom of all of this, there's no point trying to get to the bottom of any of it, and definitely not just to fucking hound old soldiers through a fucking court system. And relax. She said it had been a hard afternoon listening to the inquest finding. Some political parties backed calls for an inquiry. The Traditional Unionist Voice Party said the inquest had fallen short of any tangible justice, while the Ulster Unionist Party said it had failed at every level. Democratic Unionist Party MLA William Irvine said many of the victims lost faith in the process some time ago, and it would be of no comfort to them that their stance has been justified. Sinn Féin's policing spokesman, Jerry Kelly. Where do you hear this? Sinn Féin's policing spokesman, Jerry Kelly. Anybody know what Jerry Kelly's claim to fame is? See, he was incarcerated in the Maze prison as a member of the Provisional Irish Republican Army, and he was at the leadership level of that, and they had a breakout, and during the breakout, with a smuggled in gun, he shot a prison officer in the face. Obviously, it wasn't a very good gun because the guard survived the gunshot, but sort of, but he died of a heart attack sort of 30 seconds later. So I would say those two things were connected. But that's what Jerry Kelly is famous for, and he is the policing spokesman for Sinn Féin. We have fucking murderers being a spokesman about policing. Anyway, calm down and I shall continue. Sinn Féin's policing spokesman Jerry Kelly said the government should repeal the Legacy Act, which it said was about closing the door on families ever getting truth and justice. See, he managed to not mention the Kingsmill at all, did I? No, yeah. Former police ombudsman Baroness Nuala O'Lonan told the BBC Radio 4 the World Tonight programme she questioned the withholding of the perpetrators' names. Yeah, because in this inquest, there were people that were known to be the perpetrators, but we don't get those names. She said an awful lot of material is described as not being capable of being revealed because of the threat to national security, and I do not think such a threat exists 48 years after an atrocity. Well, let me explain to you, Nuala, the reason why it is a problem for national security is because if the perpetrators turn out to be in positions of authority in Sinn Féin who run the fucking country, then it becomes a problem. And this is why those names cannot be revealed. The coroner said that there was no collusion or state involvement in this, so the question of what did the IRA do and why did they do it? And the question has to be asked, why is the state covering this up even now? Now, what happened in the Kingsmill massacre? I just want to check that this is yes, it is. Right. This is quite well linked to the danger stream. Not nutters, just lonely or weird. Yep, yep. This is a place for the lonely and the weird. What happened during the Kingsmill ambush? On January 5th, 1976, a minibus carrying textile factory workers ambushed by the Provisional Irish Republican Army gang near the County Armagh village of Kingsmill. The men were travelling home when the bus was stopped by a man standing in the road flashing a torch. The bus came to a halt. 11 other men, all masked and armed, emerged from hedges around the road. The IRA men ordered the passengers out of the bus, demanding to know the religion of each man. One of the workers, who identified himself as a Catholic, was told to leave. The gang then opened fire on the remaining passengers, killing 10 Protestant workmen and seriously wounding another, Alan Black, who was 32 at the time, which spent months in hospital recovering from his injuries. So the names of the 10 victims: John Barnes, Robert Chambers, Walter Chapman, Robert Freeburn, Reginald Chapman, Joseph Lemon, John McConville, James McQuarrie, Robert Walker, Keith Walton. A memorial service is held in Sarah every year too. Remember them. Alan Black was shot 18 times during the attack. Years later, he recalled lying beneath the body of one of his colleagues, pretending to be dead. At that time, I was convinced I was going to die, he told the BBC. Mr. Black also recalled how Robert Chambers, who was a teenager and Mr. Black's apprentice, was crying out for his mother at the moment the gunmen shot him in the face. And this is whenever he was already on the ground, because they opened up at waist height. He added Robert Chambers was a lovely lad who was very much loved by his family. In 2020, Mr. Black was appointed an MBE for services to the community in South Armagh. No one has ever been convicted of the attack. The IRA never admitted involvement and was supposed to be on ceasefire at the time. The name South Armagh Republican Action Force was used to claim the murders. However, a report published in 2011 by the Historical Inquiries team found that the Provisional Irish Republican Army was responsible. In 2013, the Attorney General ordered the coroner to launch a new inquest into the massacre. 3 years later, shortly after the inquest began hearing evidence, it was suspended following a forensic breakthrough by police. Officers believed that a palm print found on the vehicle used during the killings belonged to the suspect arrested earlier that year. However, no prosecutions resulted from this evidence, and the inquest resumed its work. Senior police officer told the hearings that there were informal and evidential gaps linking the suspect to the murder, and there may have been an innocent explanation for the presence of the handprint on the van. One memento. Oh, fuck. Right, sorry. Yeah, just checking. Did knock that off mute again? The inquest is heard from witnesses to the massacre, as well as former police and counterintelligence officers. It has been beset with delays and arguments, and times the suspect of the protest families who killed in the attack in the length of time. I was actually looking for, that's not the link I was actually looking for. Sorry about that. Right. I think it was 134 shots that were fired at waist height at these men as they were gathered up along the road, and then they stepped in and finished them off with headshots. that's the realities of what happened. And with that, I'm going to have a musical interlude. And I think, yeah. Go with this one. I think this is actually quite fitting. We're going to have Cromwell, Protector of the Realm. Because this problem of people being killed in Ulster for being British is... Yeah, well, we've run out of the fucking Wassailing stuff, mate. I'll see if we can dig up some more. This is where the problem is. I do a 2-hour show, and the Wassailing give me about 40 minutes of content. So now we've got to talk about other stuff. But anyway, here we go. Here's Cromwell, Protector of the Realm.
Winter's morn in 1641, my lovely Anne was taken by O'Conn, taken on the file at the point of Rebel gun, and drowned in the murky river Bann. Hundreds more were taken at this date, but sure the drowned are buried in the sand. O'Neill's false promises ensured the same fate. I cursed his papist army to a man. Then one day or rise at night at sea, 100 of our ships all coming to my land. And all these dead, protector of the realm, and he smiled and placed the sword into my hand. Off we marched to Canada, to Austin's guarded town. Together we stormed it with Cromwell at the helm. He screamed, "You butchers, remember Portadown, and Cromwell, protector of the realm." And now I go with flowers to see my lovely Anne. I go and tell her that her death was not in vain. I tell my children about the Lord Protector and how he saved our people from the sin. Written in his hand some pretty kings and queens, Elizabeth the First, and Alfred comes to mind. But the Lord Protector emulates them all. Oliver the top one you will find. Cromwell, the greatest British king, strong in his beliefs, he never let us down. He fought for his people and he rid us of O'Neill, as we took our due revenge for Portadown. Cromwell, the greatest British king, strong in his beliefs, he never let us down. He fought for his people and he rid us of O'Neill, as we took our due revenge for Portadown.
Where was right? Yep. Do the presents like Cromwell? Oh yes, we do, and I can tell you exactly why. So, I'm going to have 1641, there was a massive attack on the British population in Northern Ireland, whereby gangs of Catholics turned up at houses and estates. And whenever I say estates, I don't mean like the housing estates we have now. I mean like the country estates where you would have the lord of a manor, and then a lot of people would have lived around there. And they gathered these people up and they forced them into rivers and they drowned them and shot them and murdered them. And the shores of Lough Erne ran red with blood that could not be discriminated from man, woman, or child. And this started in 1941 and continued until 1949, whenever the English Civil War ended and Cromwell, with his new model army, came over here and kicked the fuck out of the people who'd been murdering us. It was a great relief. And yes, we do like Cromwell. And I will say that the Irish who suffered under Cromwell only got back a very small measure of what they did to the people. Let me make this very clear. This was not a small spate of attack. This was something that went on for 10 years, where they starved people intentionally by laying siege to their house. And then whenever they were too weak to defend themselves, they went in, they took all of their possessions, including their clothes, and sent them out into the wilderness. And this happened across the island of Ireland. And there is nobody that did not know that this was happening, because they could see the displaced, naked wretches going out into the out in the wilderness to basically starve to death. And those of you who know what the weather's like over here, you will also know that this is not the country to be walking about fucking naked, particularly in the winter. So Cromwell put an end to that, and yes, we do like the guy. Rant over. And yes, he was pretty badass. Now, what else do we have? Oh, yes. Since we're on January, we're going to talk a little bit about the Siege of Gibraltar. And this is coming from the National Gibraltar Museum. Yeah, love will win the day. If we could all be nice and friendly with each other, that would be really great. It falls down where people refuse to be nice to you. And I wouldn't even worry about them being nice, just not trying to destroy us. That would be good. I feel that's a very low bar to cross. If you want to be on our side, could you maybe not try to destroy the people or the country? That's not a big ask. Not a big ask. Right. It's the Siege of Gibraltar, and this is coming from the Gibraltar National Museum. And that is yeah. No, Spanish chicken. It's a fair comment. Yeah, fuck the man with a big stick. Yes, the people that run the place, there's none of them good. And be nice and love will win the day. There's issues, but it's coming from a good place. Okay, so let's find out about the Siege of Gibraltar. With the American War of Independence raging, France and Spain saw an opportunity to take advantage of Britain's stretched forces. They allied themselves with the Americans and declared war on Britain. Their plan was firstly capture Gibraltar, then invade mainland Britain. Gibraltar was so strategically important that it became an obvious target for attack, so its defences were considerably strengthened. In 1772 saw the formation of the Artificer Corps, forerunners to today's Royal Engineers. These were soldier tradesmen, combat troops, also skilled in the construction of defence works. In 1777, what happened in 1777? There was a good beer made, isn't that it? Yep, I think so. Colonel William Greene suggested further modifications to the defences, which included the construction of the King's Bastion. On the 24th of June 1779, birthday of King George III, hostilities began. The French and Spanish blockaded the port to stop supplies coming in, believing they would quickly bring the garrison to its knees. But this proved not to be the case. Despite outbreaks of scurvy and other sickness due to lack of fresh food and constant bombardment by the Spanish artillery, morale remained high under the leadership of the governor, General George Augustus Elliot. The British position was improving with the arrival of two relief convoys. The first in January 1780 under Admiral Rodney, and the second in April 1781 under Admiral Darby. They brought in much needed food, supplies, and extra troops, and evacuated some of the civilian population. Put the civilians out, bring the army in, let's make the place strong. A further boost to British morale came in November 1781. The enemy were building new trenches and batteries on the isthmus to bring their cannon closer to the town and inflict more damage. General Elliot ordered a sortie, so on the evening of the 26th, 2,500 troops crossed the isthmus and attacked the Spanish lines. Holy shit, 2,000... That's not a small sneak attack. That's a fucking movement of people. They destroyed 28 pieces of artillery and trenches, blew up magazines, and inflicted heavy losses on the Spanish troops at the cost of only 4 British killed. Holy fuck. 2,500 go over and there's only 4 that don't come back. That's amazing. The Spanish logbook captured in the attack had already been filled in with the entry, "Nothing occurred this night." That's funny as fuck. Yeah. There's nothing going on. No. The siege saw 2 major advances for the British gunners. In February 1782, Lieutenant Couillard of the Royal Artillery first demonstrated the depression carriage he had invented. This allowed the cannon to be easily pointed down from high up in the north face and to fire down on the enemy below. The sheer nature of this north face meant that some of the approaches could not be covered by the British guns. So in May, a group of artificers under Sergeant Major Harry Ince started work on the first tunnel in Gibraltar. The original plan was to tunnel to a protruding rock called the Notch and place a cannon there, but during construction they opened up a small hole in the side of the tunnel to aid ventilation and realized that it would make a perfect gun embrasure. Eventually, these upper galleries or Great Siege tunnels would house 17 guns, completely covering the northern approaches. And this is a picture of the cannon. And what I found interesting is that obviously whenever the cannon is pivoted straight, parallel, or in the air, the cannonball is not going to fall out before you fire it because it's being held in place by gravity, whereas now it's being held in place against gravity, and that is obviously the innovation. And how it was done, I haven't a fucking clue. And we've got a nice picture of the tunnels, and I'm going to have a look at the chat. Neither would I. Oh, fuck. Talking about that. Oh, thank you, Spanish Chicken. Yeah. A bit of a tangent, but it turns out that, see the treaty we signed with China? And the 99-year lease? Hong Kong was not on the 99-year lease. Hong Kong was ours forever. We didn't have to give it back, but we decided to. We just got that so fucking wrong. We had no requirement to give it back. We just did. The dumbest thing that any British government has ever done, I believe. We should have held Hong Kong, not least for the British people that were in Hong Kong who have not done too well out of the. One second, I need to get liquid. Yeah. In early 1782, under the leadership of Duc de Caron, French troops captured the island of Minorca from the British. He was then appointed commander of the siege of Gibraltar to give it a fresh impetus. His aide Colonel Diacon came up with a plan of a massive amphibious assault on the garrison, led by 10 floating batteries. These were specially adapted large sailing vessels equipped with many cannon and thick walls to protect the crew. On the 13th of September, the grand attack was launched. The batteries maneuvered into opposite the King's Bastion and began to pound the town. At first, the British return fire was ineffective, but then they started to heat cannonballs in a furnace. These red-hot shot proved far better. By late afternoon, the two main ships were on fire, and one of them in the morning they were abandoned, and the other battery set on fire, so they could not be captured. This was a crushing defeat in the Franco-Spanish and the last major offensive of the siege. Holy fuck. These cannons aren't working. Yeah, stick the balls in a fucking furnace. And if it's not bad enough that this big, heavy fucking chunk of metal's coming straight through you, where it's now going to be super hot. Fucking great. A third and final convoy arrived in October under Admiral Hugh on the 2nd of February, 1783. A truce was signed with the British keeping Gibraltar and the Franco-Spanish taking Minorca and other parts of the West Indies and Florida. The siege lasted 3 years and 7 months and was the longest in British military history. The garrison of 7,000 men was heavily outnumbered by 40,000 French and Spanish troops. 7,000 against 40,000. This goes to show that there is a hell of a lot in exactly where you make your defense, but still managed to hold on. The number of enemy losses is not known exactly, but it is considered very high. The British military lost 333 dead and 138 disabled through enemy action, but a further 536 died of sickness. And yeah, this is where we're at. And more, we are losing more people to illness than we are to the actual battle. Who knew? So there we go. That is a quick update on the siege of Gibraltar. Yeah, being to Hong Kong, you have the island and new territories, and I think the lease was for the new territories. Yeah, that's exactly it. The lease was for the new territories. We could have kept the island. We should have kept the island. Something that I only came across because I happened to be watching a documentary about it. And I was astounded that it wasn't actually required. 1 second, I am going to sneeze and get some liquid. Gibraltar, my kingdom for a sombrero. Right. I think what we're going to do next, is we're going to play the England Day song. And then I'm going to say a little bit about England Day. And I'm going to keep saying stuff about England Day. But this will... Where are we? Here we go. Who are ye, in rags and rotten shoes, all dirty and bearded, blocking up the way?
We are English. We come from the edge of Europe,
beyond which lies only water, ice and death. This is the place we made our home.
Raised our cattle, planted the crops, evoked their gods from circles formed of stone, so those gods could witness us atone.
When Roman forces did invade, we fought as lions, refused to yield, and those we left out in the field, but the English, they were the seed.
Who adversity did propagate, an indomitable people who we would fight, toil and mock in equal measure, and find humour in our adversity, because that is our way. The battle-weary tribes besieged by Vikings,
banded as brothers with Angles, Jutes and Saxon, took some years of consideration
to produce our culture of toleration. The creation of the English nation at Stamford Bridge we won the day, but William was quickly on his way.
1066, the commutation brought the cursed Norman invasion. A ruling class they would impose until calls for Magna Carta arose. And to all the kings the message was sent: you only rule us by consent.
So what of the English, I hear you ask? You know us as the working class, the ones whose toil, blood and sweat brought you the greatest empire yet. So you should learn at your mother's knee of revolutions that number 3.
That number 3. 1, 2, 3.
Agricultural, where mechanised planting and harvesting was married to selective breeding, we created a food surplus, the envy of the world. Industrial, where we conjured cities to house factories inhabited by a well-equipped workforce to man the machines. This coupled to the ingenuity of English engineers who never found a problem without a solution. The third, the glorious one, that brought about civil and religious liberty, one rule for all, and the radical notion that a man should profit from his labours. But we are not greedy. We exported our language, our law, our sense of fair play. In our safe shipping lanes trade flows through never-ending day.
And when Britannia ruled the waves,
we used our power to free all slaves. We managed the world and allowed all others to travel in the social order we created with humour in adversity, because that is our way. Achievements we have too many to list. From this small kingdom God has kissed. We travelled the world from the highest mountain to Arctic's Carpatic, tundra and back again. The traces of our kindness are in our railway lines that transport the world to work, our compassion in the water systems that hydrates foreign soil.
We left everywhere better than we found it, because that is our way.
I could list another thing or two, like how we taught the world to queue, but I'll leave that for another occasion. It's time to have a celebration. Admire the wonders of our creation. To our ancestors, homage we must pay for doing things the English way. For we are the English, and this is our day.
Who are ye, in rags and rotten shoes, all dirty and bearded, blocking up the way?
We are the pilgrims, master. We shall go always that little bit further, It may be beyond that last blue mountain barred with snow, across that angry or glimmering sea. We are the English.
Every Englishman's house is his castle. So hoist your colours on the ramparts for England Day. Then down after St George's Day. We are English, and we'll be patriotic in an organised way.
Okay, let's talk about England Day. Now, people, I will say this, that this week I have been a little bit disorganized and a bit behind and whatnot. As I told you before, I hurt my wrist over Christmas, and then so it was behind me all my fucking personal stuff and whatnot. And it's been a slow start to the year. I'm not exactly where I wanted to be, but by the end of the weekend, I will be cleared up. And now the campaign begins. Between now and April, I need one person from each county in England that is willing to, heaven forbid, go out and fucking enjoy yourself, looking English or feeling English, and take a picture of your fish and chips at the beach or the fucking English, the historic site that you visited or whatever, and put a caption somewhere on it saying England Day 2026 and the county that you're in. And the reason why I need this is, as I said earlier, with the wassailing, the traditions that we have are the things that we do on a yearly basis, and they all started somewhere. And we can start this one where people fucking start celebrating England. And what makes these things important? If that's what you want to do, Special K, crack on. Honestly, really good. Really good. Go out and enjoy the English countryside. Please do that. What makes any event important is the public participation. Currently, we have none. Well, Emma and I will be doing something for England Day in Northern Ireland because Emma is English, and her children are English because Emma's English, and so we'll be doing something. I know Sheila's that I'll do something. So that's one county I've got covered. Brad James is only going to be saying away. Brad James will do something, and we'll count that for a county. And what I want to try and do is this year have something that I can put on Facebook from every county in England. Let's do this. The England Day's got a Facebook page, and here's the plan. We get one person from each county to do fucking something. Plant a George Cross in every county, and we'll have a picture of that. Okay? And we can indeed grow this into a lot more than what it currently is. But first of all, we've got to get the people in place. And I'm not asking anybody to go out and protest. I'm not asking anybody anything that's going to get them in trouble. I'm asking you to possibly go and have a fucking picnic. How is that a hard sell? I don't know. Read some Shakespeare. Read some fucking William Wordsworth. If you live in the Peaks, read some Wordsworth in the Peak District. You can do this. Pack a basket and send us a picture, and we will get this. And yes, I do know that finding people to hold an event so that you have so that you can get a photograph of it, so that you can log it, is a lot like astroturfing. It is fucking astroturfing. And I really don't care that it's astroturfing, because that astroturf that we put in there, we will grow real grass beside it. It's really simple. The astroturf only needs to be the size of a person. We'll put real grass beside it and we'll grow it. And we can do this. We need to do this. Because we've come to a point where Gen X is getting old, and you all need to fucking buck up your teeth and forget about the fact that you drank from the outside tap whenever you were a kid and roamed the street all day and you could do whatever the fuck you want. Well, maybe do some Gen X shit and make this happen. Send me an email address. Send me an email if you're interested, please. Yes, Linda, you could indeed. You could indeed, and that will count. And I will count that, and that will go in the Facebook page as an international recognition. And we recognize outside of the country. It's fucking amazing. Thank you, Linda. That works. That helps a lot. And we'll turn this into something. And now that rant's over, and the call to action, yeah, please, if anybody wants to do something for this, I'm asking you to enjoy yourself and send me a picture. Your face doesn't need to be in the picture. The really easy way to do it is you just, if you're at a beach, write England Day 2026 in the sand, putting George Cross beside it, a bit of fish and chips, put that in the picture. Perfect. We can do this. And anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to play the outro, and this is going to be the outro. And it is, I believe, fitting for what we're saying, because it is about coming together and doing things as a group. It is indeed harmony, melody, and rhyme. And I will put your comments up on the screen. Here we go.
Hello, this is 42 speaking. Welcome to the Resistance. You are not alone, and we shall walk this journey together. What about you, John? If one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. Let us gather together those that can perform, and from the scarred timbers build our own platform. From that grand house they tried to burn down, there's gold in the ashes if you look around. Let us gather together those that can perform, then from those scarred timbers build our own platform. Build our own platform. We will sing words of wisdom. We will sing for all harmony, melody, and rhyme. We descended from minstrels in old days of yore. We will create a culture as we did once before, forced to stand by as our country was sold. Did you really think we'd leave that story untold? So one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. I have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. I have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. Stand by as our country was sold. Did you really think we'd leave that story untold? We will sing words of wisdom. We will sing we will sing harmony, melody, cry. Harmony, melody, and cry. So one brings a guitar and one brings a voice. Then they stand together and make their own choice. I have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. Never realized you could not kill a dream. So we will gather together those that can perform, and from the scarred timbers build our own platform. You're talking to 42. What about you, chum? If one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. Sing words of wisdom, we will sing for all time. We will sing for our people, harmony, melody, and rhyme. We will sing words of wisdom, we will sing for all time. We will sing for our people with the ancient trilogy of harmony, melody, rhyme. The gods of water, earth, and land brought us through a line. The earth, the moon, the sun, each became a deity, independent parts of another trilogy. Is it a coincidence, or is it just sublime, that we now bring excellence in harmony, melody, and rhyme? You control the mainstream, but you never realized you could not kill a dream. You cannot kill a dream, and we shall walk this journey together.
Okay, everybody, I have been 42, and you lot in the chat have, as always, been fucking amazing. Good night, God bless, see us all next week. I'm out of here. Goodbye.